We got to talk about that robe on Ouishi, though.
Yes. It's
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about the robe.
All right, so we're all ready.
Yep,
Yes.
I got everything ready.
I can do my.
Wait, I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Now we will be halfway through the Higurashi book series. Halfway there. Ah!
Everybody's dead!
Take my hand. Kichi won't make it, I swear. Oh! Tamataki's dead too. Alright. Kirby, do you want to start the intro before I embarrass myself even further?
Ouishi wears a robe at the end.
Oh, God.
And he looked very angry in the robe.
Oh. Oh. Well, as you can see, it's another time for when they podcast or when they cast. Great. I'm random bystander here.
Great.
Great, I'm the wash.
Great.
So, we've traveled back to the far distant past of 1978. I will preface at least that, like, the very fact that this is, like, a wraparound story is, throughout the whole thing, I always knew, oh, he's not gonna die. No, he's not, he's okay.
Yeah. It's honestly, after the last 3, that's the most reassuring thing that you can know going into this.
Weirdly, yes.
Tamataki is not even in the story and he dies.
Yeah, before we start, I should preface this with probably the bit of information that is going to surprise you, and, like, not at all. For a long time, until recently, this was pretty unanimously seen as the worst that Higurashi got.
No.
As of recently, people have been warming up to it, myself included. People have been warming up to it. But for a while, this was just kind of like, oh, like, it's here, it's cute, has its moments.
Really?
Why did we go through this again? That's for a long time, but before that, I have something even better. Do you remember how I've been saying, I think I forgot to last time, but how, you know, as much as Ryukishi tried, as much as he pushed it, all this crazy stuff, Higurashi was like niche, but not that big.
Yes.
Yes.
I do remember you saying
I remember that.
This is the one that changed it. Any guesses as to how?
Because it's shorter.
Is it Uichi's robe?
I wish it was Ouishi's robe, but it's actually even funnier than that.
Is it because it's only 6 chapters? It's only like 7 hours long instead of 13? Is that why?
Nope, even funnier than that. Demos exist. Demos are a thing that even Higurashi has had, as they've alluded to in the post chapters at certain points. And this one had a demo too. The big cool difference here is that, well, okay, nothing new with the demo, but this was the last of the question arcs, as they were kind of talking about in this episode. You know, these first 4 stories consist of the question arcs. So to kind of maybe push more people to buy it, Ryukishi bundled them all together. So you had 1, 2, and 3, and 4 all in one thing. Now, if there's one thing you need to know about demos, is that they're free. If there's one thing that you should also know about demos, is that despite how many times it happens, you do not put everything in the demo. Ryukishi was apparently not privy to this, so even though you could only access like half of chapter 4, in the disc, or like the downloadable thing that you got with the demo, was all of the question arcs for free.
Oh.
People got into Higurashi for the demo for this. They found all the stories were there, and now all of the question arcs are online for free. Now, word of mouth is going around like crazy. Everybody's reading it for free. Everybody's like, oh my god, this is really good. And it finally gave Higurashi the momentum that it needed all this time. All because Ryukishi accidentally gave everybody the question arcs for free.
Now that's what I call free marketing. I mean, I understand, and I'm glad it worked out for him in the end, but, like, as a writer, that's my biggest fear. Like, things that I would charge for money to be like, hey, guess what? We all get that for free now. And there's nothing, it's all on the internet forever.
Yeah. And you gotta remember, this was back in like 2003, 2004. Even back then, everybody all over this stuff.
Oh yeah, but especially around that, like, that was still when Napster was around, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the reason it became popular?
Like, okay, so it was always like kind of popular, right? But like big, this is what started it. And this was kind of the perfect time. Because not to say that, going forward, it's it's just answer. Like, obviously, it's a slow gradual build-up, but, this is an end of an era, so to speak, in how Higurashi is. These are the question arc.
Yeah.
This is everything that Ryukishi presents to you to say, solve the mystery.
You're right.
Everything from this point onward, like, even if new questions get raised or whatever, like, this is it. These are the questions. This is where, alright, after this, no more questions. Time to answer stuff.
Okay.
I feel like this weirdly works out extremely well for the creator, though, because this is just the perfect timing for now. Everybody has seen those, and now they're patiently waiting for each of the answers.
Oh, yeah.
Chapters.
Yeah?
Were the other chapters out at this point, like the answers, or like did people have to wait for them?
No. When the demo was launched, he launched the demo for 4. So people caught up, and then it was like, oh my god, when's the next one coming out? We need this. Random already did a plot synopsis. Wash, this is the easiest plot synopsis you're ever going to be given. Do you want to go for it?
Yes, I'll go for it. As we already said earlier, it is 1978 in June, or summer at least.
Yeah.
And there is reports of a what is it, Minister of Construction?
Yeah.
Whose grandchild got kidnapped, and all these cops in Tokyo are trying to figure out, okay, the minister has made a lot of enemies, as a minister would, and now we gotta figure out which one of these are gonna be the suspects. And this one cop says, hey, I don't think anything, there's definitely nothing weird about this small town that is protesting a dam, but you should probably check it out anyway, just to be sure. And what he ends up finding out is, things ain't right. We can start with that. And of course it builds up into a big, kidnapping story, and figuring out the mystery of this strange village, and this little girl who has an eerie smile and an even more eerie laugh. And also Ouishi's there.
Basically, Ouishi and his buddy cop going on a buddy
Yeah,
cop
I was
road
gonna
trip.
say, it's a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, it is exactly a buddy
There's
cop
literally
movie.
at one point where I call, what's his name? Akasaka. I literally start calling him Nicholas Angel in my notes.
Oh god, would he be, thing is, that would imply that Ouishi is
Danny.
definitely not Danny.
I mean, they're both in bathrobes together at the end, so.
If we're gonna compare it to Hot Fuzz, the homosexual undertones, quote unquote, like them sharing rows together, like, oh.
This is near the end of the story, but at one point the chase happens and I'm just like, bring in the noise.
The part at the very end where Akasaka's like, I don't want to die, drop the gun, and then Ouishi shoots him. I'm like, that's actually like something I would expect out of Hot Fuzz.
Literally, Ouishi does the goon. We're skipping ahead, but I just have to say this. Like, the goon puts down the gun and says, no problems here, right? And Ouishi does, like, the action movie called, yeah, absolutely no complaints.
That is, like, super Hot Fuzz. I was waiting for, like, when Akasaka, like, passed out as, like, a form of rebuttal to just start shooting the gun in the air before passing out.
I will say it's the most sympathy I've ever felt for Ouichi. Like, it's the most human he's been.
Yeah, because you get to see, I mean, this is a big thing. Obviously, you see Ouishi doing his job and stuff, but you also get to see Ouishi not doing his job. You also get to see Ouishi doing his job from the perspective of somebody, like working with him, not the one, like antagonizing or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is what Ouishi is like when he's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. they even got like him and his buddy, who is the foreman of the dam construction.
Yeah,
which is not relevant to the story at all. But he's like, oh, I'm so tired. I have to go back to my job as a foreman of the dam construction.
And I'm like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh no.
At the end, but when Akasaka says, are you gonna pursue anything with the Sonozakis or any of this stuff any further? And Ouishi's like, nah, there's something there, but I don't really have anything against the Sonozakis, right? No reason.
Going back to the beginning, it was weird. I'm just going through my notes, and like the whole prologue was interesting, because I'm like, okay, whose story is this about? And it's about Akasaka's, but then we get the point of view of the kid, like shortly after, and then we hear the minister get threatened by Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
And I was just like guessing the protagonist the entire time, like, why this guy? And for a while, especially in chapter 2, I thought he was secret. I thought that this was Tomotake's secret identity for the longest time. And I was like, oh, yeah, it wasn't like, at first I was like wishy-washy. And then
I thought so as well.
And then he dresses up as the tourist with Rika. And then he's like, I'm wearing a camera and like a little satchel and sunglasses. I'm like, oh my god, it's Toмотake. It's Toмотake.
Rika even says Toмотake Mark II.
Yeah.
We haven't even got like started on like chapter 1 or anything like that, but here's a question. Does this mean that Toмотake was already here, or is Rika just so prescient that she's calling this guy Toмотake Mark II before Toмотake even shows up?
I mean, they mention in the other stories that Tomotake's been around for a while, but no, like, nothing exact.
Yeah.
This is actually like a normal podcast episode, not Higurashi, but what did we think of Akasaka? As, I guess either as, the point of view character, as a regular character, however you want to look at him.
He was fine.
I think that the part that helped a lot with his character was in, what was it? I think it was with the Mahjong, like that was the point where, and this took me a while, but like I suddenly realized that in the middle of the game, we switched perspective to Ouishi.
I love that.
We do.
I love that so much.
And part of how we know that is because he does the in his head.
Yes. He's like, I see it, but I don't hear it. So that means...
Now, the part of Akasaka that I really like, I mean, I guess you could say it's less about him and more about Rika, but I really like chapter 2 when they were going on the village tour together, and he's like, oh my god, I can't wait to be a dad, I'm gonna have a daughter, and she's gonna be just like her, we're gonna do all this stuff together.
I'm gonna be spoiler rotten.
I'm gonna be such a bad dad because I'm gonna spoil her rotten, I'm not gonna be able to say no to just like...
Oh, I love
that. I love that stuff. That's really when I warmed up to this, because, when I first read it, I was just like, oh, whatever. The big thing is that Rika's spooky. But looking back on it now, it's just like, oh my god, this stuff is so cute.
But yeah, I really liked him in chapter 2, because you do feel like he will be, like, he cares about Rika, because he, like, sees his daughter, his future daughter, in her. And just, like, they throw a nice bond together, and it's nice. And then things aren't nice.
No.
Rika tells him to go back to Tokyo, even though he never mentioned to her that he's from Tokyo.
No, and then she really says, "Stop whining," and he just had like this smirk that we've never seen before.
And I'm like, no,
and this laugh that we've never heard before. This is definitely like the chapter to really understand Rika.
Oh yeah.
Especially the last, I think like it was either chapter 4 or 5 where we hear like we read the mother's diaries.
Yeah, that's at like the almost the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost the very, and like at that point, like that was so the thing is, I actually enjoyed this pretty well. I thought this worked. That point was like into like chapter 5, well toward the end with the point where I perked up and like, oh, there's something, this is interesting, this is new. There's quite a lot of context to this. And obviously we're gonna have to talk about that when we get into theories, but that and like the Ouishi's connection with the construction foreman are all I got, at least. I'm sure there's like smaller things scattered around, but that was pretty much it in terms of like new info that like completely changes everything.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I mean, like I said, my favorite thing will always be Akasaka Rika, that whole father-daughter thing. But, like, interesting things looking back, it's like, you see the meeting that the Sonozakis have, how, they talk to Rika's dad is just like, oh, whatever, just everybody be nice and chill. The wife is like, no, but, the one who's in charge is like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter, which is how everybody assumed that he died from the curse, because he didn't do anything. So seeing that, it's like, no, this is how he was. I was like, oh, okay, alright, cool. Mm-hmm. And just like how everybody functions. You actually straight up get to see Meon be the spokesperson of her grandmother.
And I love how the grandmother's like, not even like saying out, she's like, man, I heard about that like son's kidnapping, or grandson's kidnapping. I hope someone's taking good care of him. I don't want anything bad. I hope nothing bad happens to him. And everyone around him's like, he's gotta be alive.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I love that indirect order style. It's like diabolical, but it's not like effectively linking it to her.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh.
There's one point where like, they mentioned how they found the wallet, and I just write, it's not my wallet. It's his wallet. And then they mentioned a dental evidence of the card. I'm like, dental evidence strikes again! This is not the first time dental evidence has been used to solve something in Higurashi. And in fact, I think that's why Ouishi went to go check dental records, because it's like, it worked the first time, might as well try it again.
I really like the little detail where Akasaka is calling the dentist office, say, hey, can you give me the number, please? And he looks behind him, and he realized, I looked behind because I thought she was somehow behind me reading the numbers from my notes. Like, that's how terrified I am right now.
Yeah.
That this is perfect evidence.
If there's anything else you guys have to talk about, feel free, but I'm pretty much done. I like this a lot, but there's not a lot to say.
Akasaka, I was on board with him a lot of time, and I'm like, oh, he's not being an idiot at all. He seems to be on a sound.
Oh, are you talking about the phone?
Yeah, till the phone. Because he's like, oh, I'll go to the phone booth. Oops, one's disconnected. We have a phone in the hospital where there's people and it's safe. Oh no, I don't want to hear what they have to say. I don't want anyone to hear our conversations. I'll go to the next one. Oops, that one's cut too. That can't be a coincidence.
Let me go to the next one.
Yeah.
That's even further away from everything and everyone. Let me go to the corner where a photographer will die 7 years later.
I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah, I noticed that art too, and I was like, literally, someone's going to die here. And the thought of me being like, is he actually Tamatake? And he just dies here and becomes part of the village in this weird, like, death ritual where he's like, if you die in this village, you stay in this village. In this, like, weird Hatchetfield purgatory thing. But
for some reason, I thought you were going to say, if you die in this village, you die in real life.
I was thinking too.
I almost said that, actually.
Okay.
Final chapter. How happy are we for Ouishi that he takes ballroom dance lessons now?
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so nice to see him, like, not have to worry about the town anymore.
Yeah.
He's so happy.
Yeah, he's living his best life.
I love when, like, at the start, Akasaka's like, yeah, I only really knew this guy for 3 days. We're getting together. It was such a rough experience, blah, blah, blah. And like, the longer it goes on, the more Akasaka's like, you know, this whole experience sucked, but Ouishi, that was pretty great.
Yeah, he comes to respect him.
There's so much homosexual undertones here. It's so great. I know they're like 60 years apart. I don't care. It's so great.
Again, hot fuzz.
You just gotta turn off that melon of yours. That's the thing. I just don't know how. I'll show you how.
Point Break or Bad Boys 2. And also, it was a nice emotional moment where, like, Asaka basically realizes, oh shit, she was trying to warn me and I could have saved her, which adds insult to energy, and Ouishi's like, we will figure this out together. We're gonna do this together. Just because they're dead doesn't mean that we won't have these moments together.
So, does this mean that they were writing this from the perspective of Kaichi, which means that Kaichi never existed?
Kaichi never existed. Kaichi is Ouishi's OC.
Oh god, that's the theory. And then everybody died in a nuclear volcano.
And speaking of, and Ouishi went, like Akasaka says it, but Ouishi kind of agrees. They bring up the idea that it's, like, too convenient and that the volcano may not have actually happened.
Like, a part of me is like, a part of me wants to be like, ooh, there's more to it just volcano, but I'm like, how the fuck do you...
Ouishi literally says, are you saying that they set up, like, a series of aquifers inside this swamp, and then as soon as they found out that this like, 14-year-old girl dies, they said, that's it, open the volcano.
If she can't live, nobody can. But yeah, the last scene was, like, very emotional and stuff. It has, like, seeing the person you love, your wife, die, and your possibly unborn child die because of it, because you weren't there, and then have the girl that you care about in Himuzawa die because you weren't there.
I mean, if nothing else, he'll always have Ouishi.
They could do ballroom dancing. Play some mahjong once they find some more players.
I want to see Ouishi with, like, a rose in his mouth, ballroom dancing.
Oh, don't. Oh,
there's gotta be some fan art out there.
There better be.
All right.
I was gonna say, do we have anything else, or are we ready to do final thoughts, like, super early? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Random goes first.
Okay, I'll go. It was good. It was a lot shorter, but at the same time, it was still very interesting. We got to see it from a new perspective. We get to learn about the prequel of the town and how things were. We got to see a more humane side of Ouishi, where he actually lives in this time again. I mean, he lived two other books, but we actually get to see him happy and with a buddy cop, and it was just... this is the one where I actually like him as a character, and he's not just, like, someone I'm scared of. So, yeah, he did good. He was good. And, the whole story was good. And you really get some more insight on the town, and some more things that's, like... And you learn a lot more. And I really enjoy that. And I feel this is a good way to, like, end off the question arc, if that makes any sense. I'm sad there was no mention of cream puffs, though, or air conditioning as much, but still has some good moments.
I know you're really sad that you can't make a huge new Swan joke.
You have no idea how much I was, like, waiting for him to show up. And I was just like, I can't, he's not in this.
My one joke. Okay, my final thought is, I enjoyed this. This is really good. This, it doesn't, like I said, until the ending, this doesn't have the wow, but it's a solid side story. Like, gives some good context. It's a new protagonist to listen to the inside of their head, and you kind of understand the way they tick, and the Akasaka could have easily just been like generic cop, but they give him they give him they give him like goals, motivations. They give him a wizard mahjong skills that nobody can get past. I want to see him try to like go up against Meon in the club. Point being, this is really solid. Don't watch the bonus. Don't watch the bonus chapter. Just don't bother.
Just start theory crafting instead.
It's so weird because you get to see everybody again. You think it'd be great, and it's just like, oh, no.
It's really tired, and Kaichi is just like even more of an annoying pervert than ever before.
It feels like someone who knows the stereotypes of Higurashi, but not the story of Higurashi, was writing.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. That this is like somebody who doesn't like Higurashi. This is what their idea of Higurashi would be like.
Which, honestly, if the actual original author wrote, he'd be like, "Oh God, I'm sick of these characters. You know what? I'm just gonna do this shit. Just gonna make him a pervert like normal. She's gonna just do this shit. It's all gonna be like this. This is what all people think." I don't know.
Yeah. And of course, to preface the second half of this chapter, I will say conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject this story. Alright. Kirby fan.
Okay. I also thoroughly enjoyed this. I was already warming up to it before, getting into reading it, but once reading it started, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Akasaka, fun little character. I don't think I follow him for more than one book, but, I mean, he's here. I like it. Him and Rika, great. Him and Ouishi, hella gay. Great all around. I mean, side stories, you're probably not supposed to like them more than bits of the main story, but I definitely take this over Higurashi too, like any day of the week. 1 and 3, not so much. I like those two a lot more, but that's more of those being really good and less on this one. I think this one's very solid. I definitely liked it more than if you were to ask me, like I said, years ago, what I thought about it, I'd just say, you could skip it, like straight up, I'd say that. But at this point, it's like, no. Like, I know Ryuki, they were kind of hyping it up as like, oh, this was never supposed to be released. Oh, it's like this thing, but, like, no, read it, don't skip it, it's important, and it's good. I like it.
Nice.
I agree.
I agree.
Wow. Alrighty, so, those watching the episode are probably like, oh wow, we're not even an hour in yet. Wow, that was fast. Well, I'm gonna go do something wrong. Both myself and the story itself have said multiple times. Coming up with some potential theories or ideas on the things going on. Huge part of the story. So I compiled a list of questions to help Random and Wash along the way to maybe come up with some answers. Gave them a little history cheat sheet, some other things to help them along the way, and they have told me that they've come up with some answers. So this should be very interesting. Do either of you have a place you would rather start, or should we just start from the mess that was book 1?
Let's start with book 1. Why not?
Yes. Let's just start there.
And I'll answer all the questions as best as I can.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. When I was coming up with the questions for stuff for these, I had to think about most of them. Like, all right, how do I want to word it? How do I want, what should I ask? I'm trying to remember what, the mysteries are. For book 1, it was just, I didn't even have to think. Because the way that it's presented is just, what is going on? It's the very beginning. You don't know anything. But now going back with, we have 4 books of knowledge under our belts. Maybe. Maybe. Why do you think Tomitake killed himself the way that he did? Did it have any relation to Kaichi at the end, who killed himself in the same way? Any ideas?
I think it's just straightforward as the drug that was later established, because they talk about that they were looking for any sort of substance any signs of a drug, but they weren't able to discover anything that they know of. And of course, towards the end, we find that there is a little syringe that they were, and especially Kaichi at the end was really hoping to have that syringe leak out into the public and have everybody find out about, and that did not happen. The syringe is missing.
Yeah.
So I think that it's as simple as like Tomitake got ingested and scratching his own neck, and Kaichi ended up having much the same fate, much the same horrific fate.
I agree that like it's connected to that, so like it's because of the drug and whatever the drug may be, because like you don't do that, you don't claw your own throat out, well, in a normal, like, no, there's no way you can do that unless you're under some sort of like drug or influence, or unless you're cursed. But I honestly think like it's less of a curse and more to do with the fact that like people drugged him, and that's what made him.
Yeah, if this is a curse, it's then the curse created this drug.
And I forget, do we know if Kichi's throat went the same way at the end of the book one?
Well, I mean, we don't see it directly, but when Keiichi's talking to Ouishi on the phone, you know, we can hear, like, you know, Ouishi says that, you know, you can hear, like, sounds that aren't normal. And sounds like Keiichi's neck, like, his voice coming from his neck sounds strange. And when he says, Keiichi, don't tell me you're clawing open your neck, are you? Keiichi's response is to go like, ah! So, I guess it's never directly confirmed, but it's reasonable. Although I won't say it's confirmed or not, but pretty reasonable.
So that's why I think it's connected, and I think it has something to do. And the fact that the syringe is not there makes me think that they're both just connected in the same way, shape, or form. And also makes me think that a certain someone supplied them with this drug. There's only one major character I can think of who is involved with drugs.
There's only one major character who's talked about using syringes and such.
So, when we're talking about Keiichi, this transitions pretty nicely into the next point. Why was Keiichi continuously left in the dark on everything? Because he was left in the dark on basically everything here.
I would say it's because Oreo basically was like, yeah, the new guy, he seems to hang out with Ouishi. He doesn't need to know a lot, but let him know about to watch his back. Or he should know he has to watch his back or something. And I think that's why she probably instructed the friends to like, oh, he's new, he shouldn't know about these things or stuff like that. So that's my thought, that she was she instructed everybody, including her closest friends, or at least Meon, to keep him in the dark. And Meon instructed the club to keep him in the dark. And at least for this book. And if it's a time loop, which it may or may not be, they may learn from their mistakes and be like, oh shit, that's not a good idea, which is why they tell him earlier in like the third book.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good point. I like that theory, and I'm going to steal it.
I was going to say, I'm assuming you don't have anything to add in that case, Wash, or do you?
I'll steal it! No one will ever know! I was gonna say that, that I thought that that his friends were generally trying to protect him from the truth, because the truth was just gonna be that much more maddening.
You brought up, Meon before, but there's another, Cuckoo Bananas character in Higurashi 1, and that's everyone's favorite. It's Rena. What was going on with her? What do you think she was doing to do with Keiichi? Because she was shouting at him about keeping the lies and stuff. She listened to him on the phone, all that. Do you think that she was going to do anything to him herself? She's definitely with Meon, you know, she's close with Meon, but, you know, on Rena's own accord. Think she had anything going on with her own accord? Was it just her working with Meon? If it was up to her, why did she do what she did? Etc., etc.
If you want me to be honest, I think we don't know exactly what it is, but Rena knows more about the curse than she lets on, because she takes it very seriously in book 1 and more in book 3. And Meon even says she takes it seriously. So I think out of anyone trying to protect her, Akichi, Rena was doing that in her own twisted way. But, like, similar to how, like, Kichi kind of lost his mind a bit in Chapter 3, and when Kukubanene's in the name of Satoko, I think, like, Rena maybe went Kukubanene's and was trying to protect him from the curse while being influenced by the curse. And just, and what happens to Kichi in 3 basically happens to Rena in 1. If that makes any sense, but, like, there are but she's, like, trying to protect him, and then she's eventually like, I'll snuff him out before the curse has a chance to. Granted, this is just me trying to connect the dots loosely. I don't know if that's entirely true.
Yeah, no, I mean...
And it's been a while.
Like, Ryuki, like, as much as we don't like the bonus episode before, he says this himself. Right or long, as long as you come up with an idea and there's sound logic behind it, that's all that matters. You're experiencing this work. That's the whole point. So, this is good. Anyways, Wash, what's your take?
My take is that, I remember a note I wrote for book 1 is, friends don't keep secrets from friends. I think Rena was feeling pretty betrayed by Kaichi, and just how, she, like, Kaichi just seems so callous in her perspective, and I think she just got, like, when Kaichi kept asking questions, she was just getting really pissed and annoyed, and then she just turned back, well, you got shit to hide, you got shit you're hiding too. Don't think I didn't notice. Don't think I didn't follow you around the supermarket, bitch. So, I feel like that can be part of it as well, and, the Meon and Rena, combo is, like we said, that's hard. That's the one, I got a square peg and a round hole. I can't, it's right now, it's very hard for me to make heads or tails of the motivations, especially considering how, like, we could say Meon was influenced, but we also have to keep in mind, like, jumping ahead in book 2 and 3, Rena is way more observant than she left on.
Oh, yeah.
And she will not join, Meon's side in either of those books, because, part of it is, like, her friends were in actual danger. So that's hard. That's really hard.
It could also be, and I forgot about this, it could also be because, Meon was like, hey, Ichi's with Ouishi now. That's a problem. And they might have seen him as a lost cause at one point.
But, book 2, they do end up having a partnership. It's not a good partnership, but she's the one that said we should join in with Ouishi, because she's the one that can actually save. That's again, it's like so much of book 1. It doesn't fit for me with what's happening with book 2.
Well, there's a difference between that. With only 3 people die in the curse. One dies, one disappears, and then Kichi, whatever happens to him. So many people die because, basically, Meon, that Rena the enemy has to go to Ouishi and be like, the enemy of your enemy, you're the enemy of my enemy right now, that makes you my friend. And that's what I'm thinking. She is like, okay, I know you gotta do this for the good of the village, but you're going too far and killing all these, so many people. Half of my friend group, that's enough.
But random, my rebuttal to that is, remember in book 4 that Rika always knew that there was going to be 2 people that was going to die, and then a few days later, she will die as well. And we never see either Rika or Satoko at the end of book 1. There's a very high chance, especially considering how how certain she was. Like Akasaka said, like, it wasn't even like a prediction. It was like she was reporting the weather. It's like she was just reporting things, like she's reporting like baseball results. Like, these are just the facts. Like, the Yankees won.
Maybe they thought Kaichi was the one responsible for Rika's death. And they were like, and the council was just like, okay, you need to deal with him now. And then, after that moment, I'm just, this is my brain just going out. There's no real logic behind this.
The council this observant, they would already know by whether or not that's happened yet.
I don't know. This is the hard one for me.
This is hard.
This is one of the ones we're not going to be able to solve until later.
No shit.
It's doable, but as I've said a million times, none of this is easy, so it's fine. Although I was thinking about not including this one because we've talked about it a few times, but just figured, why not, just to kind of get all the evidence back together. How did Meon know that Kaichi went out to eat with Ouishi?
That's easy. That's really easy. That's basically, isn't it implied that they went to Angel Mort?
Yes, it is implied.
Yes.
So yeah, they went to Angel Mort, owned by the Suzakis. Suzaki saw Kaichi. They told Meon. Meon was like, did you enjoy your lunch? As simple as that.
Yep,
okay.
Yep, I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you whether you're right or wrong, I know, like, pretty regularly we've talked about that one, so, just in case something had changed. Figure not, but, here's something. I don't know if, you remember the whole shindig with, Kaichi taking a bite of mochi and throwing it against the wall, but why couldn't Kaichi find the needle?
Oh, that's the one? Okay. I got a theory for this, guys.
Alright, shoot.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're going with, but I don't know random.
I think Hugh Neutron is involved in this in one way, shape, or form.
Okay, that's not what I was expecting, but go on.
I was not expecting that either. My answer would have been that Kaichi's a fucking idiot.
Well, yeah, that too. He could have been just a fucking idiot, being like, and his mom could have been like, what's this needle on the ground? And just threw it out. But, like, and took out the trash at night. But also, it could have been like, Hugh Neutron could have been like, oh, that's the needle from Rena. I'll dispose of this quickly. Because he could have more involvement to the plot overall, do you think? After all, who takes Kaichi to Angel Mort? Hugh Neutron.
And Ouishi.
In the second book, though.
Okay, fair.
In the second book. And he's heavily involved. He's the reason they're at Himuzawa in the first place, because that's where he works. They obviously know of his status as a famous artist making ducks.
He's banking. Like, he's got a lot. I mean, he's got enough money to afford a mansion.
Exactly. They said they needed money. With an artist in town, they're obviously going to get him involved. I tell you, Hugh Neutron is definitely behind this. And in all serious note, I actually did not know what to do with this one. My guess is either A, it's as simple as, like, his mom threw it away, or B, they somehow got into his house and disposed of the evidence. Who's they? The villagers. After all, Satoko and Rika both got into his house just fine without him even noticing at first. And Rena is very, sneaky in the grocery store. It wouldn't be hard to assume that one of them just swiped the needle.
That's possible. I also think that, like, Casey's just a fucking idiot and just doesn't, like, the evidence was just lost. And he just screwed up that badly that it was like, oh my god, they're trying to kill me. I better dispose of the evidence.
We do say this a lot about Kaichi, but it's like, when he's in control, he's great. When he's not, he's stupid.
Yes. And here he was definitely a moron.
It's in character with the Kaichi of our hearts.
Absolutely.
I don't want to fall to, like, the easy joke, but I'm gonna say this in the stupid joke bay, but what's the deal with the extra footstep?
Satoshi? I don't remember the extra footsteps.
I remember the extra footsteps. And that don't they come back in they've
3.
come back in book 3.
Yes, they come back in book 3.
That's where I know them from. I don't remember it in book 1.
No, I remember them in book 1 because he was also getting really paranoid about Rena following him around.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So that was part of it, with just being like, it feels like somebody trying to sell me something.
So in that case,
I misquoted that, and I'm just gonna sit in shame.
It's okay. So in that case, it's either one of two things. Either A, it's Satoshi's curse because he does have the bat. And it's just maybe whoever holds his bat is inflicted with the curse of Satoshi. But I don't think he wishes anybody to die, so nobody dies. Unless, does he wish for himself to die in the end? Which, if that's the case, oh boy. I don't quite remember. I need to rewatch that, because if so, that's just the spirit of Satoshi connected to the bat. Which could be a thing. Or maybe the extra footsteps were Rena all along in book 3, because we never see Rena other than that trip where he's like, I promise I'll go to the clinic. That's the last we see of her. If she followed him the first book, she could be following him all 3. So I'm not sure which one it is, but I think it's one of those two. Either there is a curse of Satoshi, or Rena is just really, really sneaky and has a D20 in stealth.
Alright, just real quick, I like it. Do you remember, I just want to know this, he did not hear footsteps in book 2.
Right.
So why wasn't she following him in book 2? And don't say Hugh Neutron, I'm not going to take that as an answer.
No, I wasn't going to say that. Either A, she was, and she was really, like, nat 25 in stealth, or either that, or Rena was more worried about Meon because of just all the shit that was going on, and she was constantly by her side. So maybe she was monitoring her more? Because, after all, the whole thing, she was worried about her with the whole doll thing, and then her maybe killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she had her eyes on me. Again, grasping straws here.
Yeah.
Alright, anything you want to add, Wash? The original question was, of course, what was the deal with the extra footstep?
My response to that is, this is a very boring, actually sort of answer, but, the human brain is very good at making patterns from random noise. So I think a very paranoid, panicked Kaichi was just that scared that just anything was just sounding like footsteps to him. And he's just in that paranoid mindset that he just kind of, that it's created whether it's there or not. And the catch, for me, the scary part, is figuring out which is which. Because I think there are also some points where there are genuinely somebody's following him. It's probably Rena, but somebody is genuinely following him, and there's gonna be some situations where it's like, no, he's lost it. And, it's boring. It's a science answer. But that I feel is part of it as well. Just to kind of help me, not make this like, oh, it's a curse.
I love the Rika theory that we came up with, that Rika was driving the white van and she didn't mean to run Kaichi over. She was just too short that she couldn't see him. But it's not a real thing, as much as it hurts me to say that. So any idea why there was somebody in a white van trying to run over Kaichi?
The thing that caught my attention with book 4 was the detail that, because we already knew that Rika was very dearly loved by the elderly in the community, and book 4 really hits home that it was more than love. Like, they indoctrinated her straight up. Like, they taught her everything. To the point that Rika's own mother is just kind of like, how the fuck did you know that? like, just really terrifying, stuff. And I think that it was one of these, I think it was one of the elderly. It's partly just like, how dare you try to mess up this curse, and partly because they're old and they can't see that very far down the road.
Alright, random?
Shit. I was having trouble thinking of theory, and I thought you would think of a theory that I would like, and I'm like, I don't like that one. Nothing personal. You're great, Wash, but I don't like that theory. But I can't really think of anything else. This one I struggled with.
So, if...
I do know, like you say, they mentioned the van in Chapter 4 in the beginning, of that, they mention a white van kidnapping the son. So, my guess is, it's a Yakuza, from the Satoshi family, from the Sonozaki family, and they were either ordered to scare him off or maybe to make sure he's dead.
God, I always love talking, even though, I'm not going to be talking very much during this because I love listening to you too, but, my favorite part, still my favorite thing that's happened in Higurashi so far. How did Rena know what Kaichi was going to have for dinner? At the door.
Oh, did we already start the scene, where Kaichi just slowly realizes, hey, I felt this presence at the store. Rena, where were you when I was shopping?
Yeah, I think, I have a funny idea. No, it's not Hugh Neutron. It's not Hugh Neutron this time. Although, Rena knows Kaichi can't cook. She knows that in book 3. And if she doesn't, she picks up on it easily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, why would Akichi be at Akichi's at the grocery store by himself, right? Or
Well, he's with his mom and dad. He's with his mom and dad. And he's buying a lot of instant noodles and such, and she sees that. Why would he be buying that other than to make a quick meal?
And the parents are noticeably not home, even though Casey's saying, yeah, they're here. Don't. Oh no, did he admit it that they weren't home?
No, he tried to keep up the facade as long as he could.
Oh, he tried to keep up the facade. Yeah. So,
but I think he knew, one, because Rena knows, like, he wouldn't be. Maybe this is a bit of a stretch. Maybe she smelt the food. And, like, that he was
wasn't
cooking.
There?
Oh, he wasn't trying to cook yet? I mean, he didn't burn the house down, so.
It'd be pretty hard to burn with a microwave.
It's not impossible, especially with Kichi's cooking.
This is cooking.
The only other thing I could think of is, like, they were monitoring his house. And, like, they had people, like, watching his house, and they saw his parents leave. And Rena was involved in one way, shape, or form. Or Rena was watching him other times than that day. Like, she knows where he lives. She visits him every day. He could have easily stalked him without knowing, because she has a D20 in stealth. Yeah. So, it's very possible that she saw his parents leave, and just kept following him the entire time. Because we don't know if she's absent too when he isn't in school. We don't. That's all I got.
I agree.
Okay. Final chapter. A lot happens. Rena follows Kaichi around when Kaichi goes on that side road. There's the whole thing in Keiichi's house when they were talking about the director. The people in the white van show up. There's the whole Meon thing with the syringe. Rena was saying that she will protect Kaichi, and then she says something else, and Kaichi just zones out. What's up?
I think, this is gonna be, well, obviously, it seems like the director is Irie, based on the context clues you've given us. And, am I familiar, when Kaichi sees people come out of the white van, is there a guy in, like, a doctor's coat that comes out as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Good memory, yes.
Irie.
Irie.
The director, coach, whatever the fuck.
Just call him coach, it's easier.
You can just say coach.
It's coach before we know it's coach.
Yeah.
And I even say the director will show up, and it's quite obvious that he's involved, and he's the director, and he's probably supplying them with syringes. And And I think he's working with Meon as he's very close to this Sonozake family, because he takes care of Oreo, and he even is the doctor that they call when the kidnapping happens. He's close to the family. He has the power to do this. Whether he wants to or not, that's a whole different story. But with the fact that he's died of suicide both times, I don't think he wants to do it. I think he's like guilted into doing it. But because maybe those sins are what caused him to kill himself. Maybe, I don't know. That's something that's a whole different story. Either way, I think he's involved. I think he's involved with like he comes in with the white van, and he supplies Meon with a syringe. Maybe Rena was going to stab Meon in the back and try and protect him right when the moment happened before Akichi murdered everybody. I don't know about that for sure, but that would make sense of protecting him. Unless protecting him meant like him being part of the village in this time loop forever and ever. Because I don't forget about that weird time loop theory that I have. But other than that, that's all I can think of.
All right, Wash.
Yeah. What he said. I can't. No, I can't do this. Chapter 12? Are you kidding me? Fuck, man.
Barely basking straws. The only thing I'm confident about is Ire being the director in that moment. That's the only thing I'm 100% confident about. And even then, I don't even know.
Even then, like, the motivations for why that Rena and Meon just go and try to inject, him, just,
We're almost done. This is the last question. In a broader sense, it doesn't have to be anything specific, just broadly talking. And I guess not Satsuko and Rika, they didn't inherently do anything, but broadly speaking, why did Keiichi's friends turn on him? And with everything that we've talked about, everything that we've gone over, do you think Meon and Rena have similar reasons, if not the same?
I definitely don't think that Rena and Meon have similar motivations. There are some similarities because I think they both have some sort of drive to the same. It's different motivations, same goal is what I'll say. Because Rena is much more religious than Meon, as we find out, but also like it's clear that there's also something not right with Meon as Meon either. Especially when we see like the glassy eyes at certain points. And as for why, I think we kind of had a similar question to this earlier, and my answer was I don't fucking know.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's definitely tricky. There is some like for Meon, I think part of it is that there is this undercurrent in the first book and in later books that Meon that the village in general does not like outsiders, and Kaichi partly thinks like, are they trying to kill me because I'm not from here? And so there's this sort of possibility of that. Rena it's also hard to say. I also, like I said earlier, I think that at least part of it is that Rena just feeling really betrayed at Kaichi, and she just snaps. We've already seen her. I mean, we didn't already, but like in book 3, we see her snap at Kaichi when they're trying to talk over what to do with Satoko. Like she can get really pissed, like possession or not. Like I said, different motivations, same goals with book 1 at least.
I think they turned on him for different reasons. I'm gonna agree with Wash that like Rena, it was more personal. And like she might have not turned on him. She could have just been like super protective and was going to save him in the end. But either she snapped or she wanted to go things her own way and go rogue and do things like in a different way, similar to how Kichi was in book 3. And Meon was just doing what the family wanted her to do. So I think she kept things in the dark, and things turned out the way they did because her family told her to.
My rebuttal to the maybe it's not a rebuttal, just like and I guess we're going to talk about this. I'm sure there's going to be a question about this, but I think that Meon is also trying to go her own way. Sometime in book 4 when Oreo, the grandmother, she says like that boy should probably get released. Like Meon looked pretty pissed, and I think that she wants to do more like what her father as a yakuza leader is doing. That she wants like extreme control and a dictatorship essentially.
So, moving on, for as much as book 2 dragged, there's not nearly as much to ask. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing in this context, but here we go. Before the festival happened, do you think I know it's weird to ask pre-festival stuff, but, do you think that Meon and Shion ever swapped places? And if you do, where do you think they did?
That's a tough one, honestly.
Yeah, that's really tough. My suspicion is that...
and just to preface again, I'm only asking pre-festival. I'm not talking anything like after that.
Yeah, pre-festival, yeah. My suspicion is that Meon really was at Angel Mort. Cause I think and I talked about this in that episode, that I think there's some things that are a little too convenient, for Shion to have known about, without having previously met, Kaichi. But, that's really as far as it goes. With like after that, it could swing either way. Plus, like they are very different personalities, so I feel that it's very different personalities, but it's the personality that either of them can mimic pretty well on account of being twins. So it's tough to say.
If anything, it's maybe when he first meets Shion, quote unquote.
At Angel Mort, yeah.
Yeah, at Angel Mort for the first time. Like, the first time he visits Angel Mort. That would be the only time I think they would have switched places. And then Shion, being Shion, sees that he's back or talks to her and is like, oh, he's cute. No, actually, no. He's Meon's friend. I wonder if it'll make her... I wonder how she'll feel if I, like, start flirting with him and dating him, and will make her mad and all that shit. There's a sibling rivalry, and they do have a bit of a butting heads with each other, or more, Meon butts heads with her, and Shion just revels in it.
If we're going for something that makes a little more sense, then it could be that, like, at the Angel Mort that genuinely was Shion, Meon caught wind of this, and decided to bring lunch. Actually, with the way, cause the thing is, what's making it hard is that, like, Shion still needs to have met Kaichi at some point for this to make sense. So, this is my theory now. That Jenny was Shion at Angel Mort. Meon caught wind of this. She's very, obviously, it's a family business, so she knows what's going on in there. And Meon is the one that knows where Kaichi lives, so Meon would be the one that would bring over the bento box, or, the whatever the meal was.
Yeah, no, honestly forgot about the bento scene. So I think you might be right with that timeline. Honestly, that would make sense. But also, they could have not switched places.
Yeah, it's very possible that, like, this generally was a wacky twin misunderstanding.
This is Shion Sonozaki, and you're watching Disney Channel. So, alright, this should be an interesting one to revisit, having gone back to book 3 with some, tidbits that we got from there. How was Takano able to spook Shion and Kaichi at the shrine, or wherever, they were in the toolbox shed or whatever, when, according to, the police report, she's been dead for over 24 hours. You can use book 3 as frame of reference, but I asked this question again for book 3, so if you have anything specific to that, I would say hold off, but if you want to use that point as a frame of reference, go right ahead.
This is gonna be off the wall and not have anything to do with you, Neutron. So, maybe there's a type of demon that is a shapeshifter. That could be a thing, because demons are still in the world. I think Meon is able to shapeshift a bit. Or certain demons are. Maybe not Meon specifically. I think Takano is possessed by a demon in one way, shape, or form. And that was actually a demon in the works. In the house, trying to, like, antagonize them to go in. Maybe. And that was the reason why she showed up and encouraged them to go in. Because she just wanted them to... It was kind of like make a self-fulfilling prophecy, like, oh, you did this because I tempted you. Again, very loose. And other than that, I have no fucking idea how else that could have happened. Unless the dental records were false and it actually wasn't her.
That's true. That there is a possibility that wasn't as what happened. I
mean, in fairness, they do have a tendency to just be like, it's the curse, just whatever sounds most convenient, get these villagers to shut up about it. It's like the drug addict. It's like, Ouishi's like, yeah, nothing really adds up, but everyone's like, admitted to the crime, choked on a spork, who cares?
I'm sure, like, when we finally get to the reveal, it'll be like, oh, of course, it was
Meon all along, shapeshifting as villagers.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was like Meon, it was like somehow Kaichi was just hypnotized.
Oh my god, what if it's the third Kichi from the timeline where he's a villain, and instead of him disappearing and growing up, he just went to other timelines to commit all these acts so other Kichis would be corrupted and or dead. And it's just like this weird, like, Hatchetfield thing. And I'm like, I am the evil Kichi. Which was a thing in the bonus, so I don't want to talk about that. But then, I don't know. This one I'm lost. This one I'm kind of lost in. If it's not a demon, I don't know what the hell it is.
No, this is... No.
Alright, well, speaking of being lost, here's another toughie. Actually, no, this is a good, like, last question to ask. Okay. You remember that when Kaichi found Rika all beaten up, they had the conversations about the kitties and the puppies and all that stuff? Or the wolves, not puppies, whatever. When she was talking to him, she said something along the line, like, when she said, just, like, stay quiet, I'll take care of it. She specifically said, there's not much time left, or I need to act fast, something like that. What was that about?
Well, if she could predict her own death, she knew it was coming, so she knew, like, she only had a limited amount of time to keep Kichi safe if she was gonna die anyways.
Yeah. I can't add anything else to that. Yeah, sure.
Alright, cool. Okay, good. Wow. Nice to get through one of these so quick. How could Meon have stabbed Kaichi if she was already dead, according to that police report?
As we've seen, or at least as is apparent from book 3, Kaichi is not, sometimes just doesn't have a very good grip on reality. Like when he has this, he spends an entire night killing an uncle who is still alive and still abusing Satoko. And it could very well be that that's happened here too, that just the thought and the insanity of it just conjured Meon very conveniently, and he's ended up stabbing himself in the stomach from the sight of this. And that is, at least based on book 3, that is a possibility there.
And it would explain, like, the whole, like, her sounding different being a demon thing. That's a cool theory.
You got a better one.
I don't know if I do. Demon? No, I don't have a better theory.
Demon is basically the curse.
It is, and I'm like, is it really the curse? Because I truly believe it's not the curse, it's people. But there's some things I'm like, that curse would make more sense.
Oh, the curse?
And be less complicated.
That's what I love about this mystery. The curse is so tempting. Because it's just this uniform, convenient, nice answer that fits into everything. But you don't want to say it because you're giving up. It's great. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
Yeah, I really don't know. This is where I'm like, fuck, man.
All right. Now, I don't care about the how. We know they have a torture shed. I want to know, why behind the killing of the mayor, Kimiyoshi, Satoko, Rika, and not really a killing of Shion, but a mental killing, as you know, we find out. What was with all of that? Like I said, all I care about is the why. And then after this, we can move on from book 2.
She snapped. The doll was like the little thing that made her snap. I don't know what else went on in her life, but that was it. And I'm not sure if necessarily a demon took over her. She might have just had some like really, really bad mental problems that she blamed, that she was like, oh, it's the curse. But I feel like she just snapped, and while she only had to kill people for the curse for the family, she wound up taking out everybody else with her, and like wanted to make Kaichi, maybe not even Kaichi, Meon suffer. No, not Shion suffer. She wanted to make Shion suffer more than anything else.
I mean, it's already well established, especially at the torture scene, just how much like hate, just vile hatred Meon has for Shion for years and years of what honestly just seems like ribbing. Just to be like, haha, you're such a shitty sister, and she just took that so much further.
And it could have not been the doll that made her snap. It could be the fact that the one guy who she wanted to get a doll from was now dating the person that she hated the most.
Yeah, that's also a good possibility. And honestly, with mental illness, it's a very touchy subject, obviously, but considering just how much, like I said, like the indoctrination of Rika, I also think that there's an indoctrination of Meon. And I think like what we would see as just like completely ill with just like her not knowing much better than kill everyone.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, she could have, like, some sort of bipolar disorder or something. And, like...
Again,
it's more complicated than that, obviously.
Way more complicated than that.
Right now, if we're not going the it's a curse route, that whole indoctrination of, like, she's gonna be next line of the...
Yeah, next line of the
Sonozaki family, she's gonna be the one with the demon inside her, with the demon tattoo.
Yep.
Maybe that got into her head a little bit, and it went a bit overboard.
I totally buy that, and like I said, I think that also Meon is just she's talking about in book 2 just how ready she is to be a leader, to be a to be a leader of a yakuza, leader of the town, just wanting to take over the world.
Good news, we're done with book 2. We can go into the one that's even harder. Book 3. Alright, this is like, God, how you look at the last 4 chapters, God, I don't even know, I don't even know. I'm just gonna ask the question. Do you think Kaichi actually killed Teppei? Yes or no?
I don't know anymore.
I say no. Like I said, I think that he's had quite the reality warping experience that I think he just genuinely just did not. It was not right in the head that entire night.
But then, who did he kill?
There was they clearly found the grave, and they know that it was dug. But then, they didn't find anything.
Yeah, and it was also freshly dug. So that could mean one of two things. It could mean that it's from Kishi digging it yesterday, or someone undug it and dug it back up.
But, Random, you gotta then explain to me, why is Satoko absolutely traumatized and pissed that Casey is saying but your uncle is dead, right?
Well, that could be one of two reasons. One, you're right that he didn't kill him. And 2, Satoko is known for lying. In the past.
You think she lied about this abuse?
It's not. Unfortunately, it's not a possibility that we can really overlook. And I'm not saying she lied about it when it happened. She could be lying about him still being there. Which adds to my other theory later on. I don't know. I think either A, she was denying it and making it up, or maybe she thought he was still there, or still worried that he was there. And she's been so traumatized, and to the point where even if he's not there, she still feels his presence and is still worried that if he doesn't, that to her, he's still there. If that does that make any sense whatsoever?
Rephrase that maybe?
Okay, let me see if I've got it right. Because I know we're all very confused right now. So I think what you're saying is that her trauma is so bad that even though he isn't there, she still feels like he's there just because she's that far gone. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, okay. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Which wouldn't be a surprise after all the trauma that we've seen from her, with her in the classroom.
And they mentioned that she wants to face the abuse. And thinking that facing the abuse will make her worthy of Satoshi.
Yeah, that's another thing. She could still be even if the uncle comes by, she could still be ready to face his abuse and deal with it, even though he's not there anymore.
I like that. I mean, I don't like that.
I don't like that either, but just
we hate it for Satoko. We like it for the story.
Yes.
We like it for the story. For God's sake. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. Totally. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I asked this question, similar to book 2. How is Takano there on the night of the festival? You're both stumped, so we'll skip it. The extra footstep here was the same as in Higurashi 1. I remember, random, I think you said it was Rena. Wash, I don't remember what you said. Or maybe I have it mixed up.
No, I said it could be, I actually said yes to this question in book 1, because I was I said whatever, it's either Rena or Satoshi. Okay. Whatever it is in book 1 is the same as in book 3.
Okay.
So,
all right,
yes,
cool.
I do think they're the same.
Wash, do you think they're the same, or?
What I said was what Random called boring, which is that it was inside his head, and he's just that panic.
Okay.
But
still boring.
I know you're gonna say it.
Alright, well, it matches at least, which is good. Alright, so we talked about this. I don't know, if you guys remember what answers you came up with, but now that we're talking about everything again, I want to see if it's still consistent. So, what was with the personality swap that Meon and Rena had after Kaichi went to the classroom the day after the festival, where he thought he killed Teppei, all that stuff?
For the fact that they were, like, saying he was at the festival, at first I was like, oh, it's a demon impersonating him. But now it's mentioned in book 4 that the village would sort of cover each other's tracks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Meon and Rena were doing there.
I was thinking that same thing when that got started. And I think also, Kaichi eventually was trying to, like, warm up and do like, yeah, haha, yeah, nothing's wrong. Hey, Satoko, everything, we had a great time at the festival, didn't we? You got the story wrong. I wasn't there. My uncle just straight up said no.
As for, like, the moment, what if they were, even though they said they were going to the dump, they could have just been going to dig up the body, if the body was there? Which they could have. We don't see either of them after the end of that point.
I will at least confirm this much, that when Kaichi goes to bury up the body, he goes at, like, it's a night by that point. I could definitely, remind you on that much, because that's something you're told.
See, now I'm gonna say something that directly contradicts what I just said, which was that even though I just said that, like, they were trying to cover up his tracks, I at this point it's just like, what the fuck did you just say somebody died? Why are you saying that? And especially when they had just witnessed him snapping, like they said your eyes are different. What's wrong with your eyes? Like,
well, the eyes happened before that, like chapters before.
Well,
that,
yeah,
actually.
but that's calling back to what this point is. Yeah,
that was calling back to it. Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Is that, like, and like remember there was a phone call with Meon, and when you start asking about, can you take Satoko to the festival, she's like, why are you asking this? And this is the exact, and she starts breaking down because this is the exact same thing that Satoshi asked about.
Okay, that leaves me to another thought.
Go ahead.
They knew. They obviously knew. Because Kichi's not good at hiding shit. And when they mention the story and how that it's like, wow, Kichi thinks that Meon and Rena give them a look of, oh my god, they figured it out. They really gave him a look like, you really are terrible at covering your tracks, man. And they were just gonna maybe take him to the dump, either A, help unbury the body if there was one, or B, kill him.
And dump him right next to Colonel Sanders.
Yep, pretty much.
No, they would kill him. Rena would go, wait a minute, that Colonel Randy, really cute. Let's get that out, then we toss the body.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, if they wanted to keep it really quiet, Kichi's not the best person for that.
I can literally imagine Rena being like, you know what's more important than hiding a dead body? Colonel Randy.
Do you remember, this was either the
21st night of September?
Do you recall the
most famous reindeer of all?
Oh my god!
Have you heard
the word of the bird?
Do you happen to remember the opportunity of which I shall describe that being?
That being, give me a fucking song of that. That being the, either this was like 2 chapters or however many chapters ago, after after they find out about the abuse, Takano tells Kaichi about the telling him about this whole conspiracy thing. He goes to Meon and says, I heard that you're in control of all this, and you're the one responsible for the speculation that you're responsible for the murders. No judgment here. I want you to kill the uncle. And Meon says he will not die. That actually he will not die. Now, do you then recall, Ouishi, in the scariest he's ever looked, trying to dig up the grave, and then he says, like, damn, I was so sure that Teppei was going to be the one that died.
Yeah.
I think I think the reason for, that Meon said he's not going to die is because that's exactly what they expect to happen. So I think it was like, you fuck up, you ruined the plan, and you just made this more complicated for us, and now we gotta clean up your mess. Or whatever mobs call it.
Take you to Colonel Randy.
Take you to the drug.
Take you to Colonel Randy.
Take it to Colonel Randy.
I think you might be right, because them trying to be too, like, collaborative, because you are right, they did disagree with it, and you're right, it would have been very obvious. So the fact that it did happen there, that would be like very Meon to be like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Alright, so, moving on.
Yes.
So, I'm expecting two very different answers. I think you both stand on two very different sides. If you think that Kaichi killed Teppei, then how is he not buried underground? If you don't think that Kaichi killed Teppei and Teppei's still alive, where was Teppei when Kaichi went to Satsuko's house at 7 a.m. and he wasn't there?
I think one is more right. I'm on the opinion that Kaichi did kill Teppei. But, and just like, his body was destroyed as evidence, like Wash said, they cleaned up Kichi's mess, pretty much. And such, and it was just Satoko, trying to live through the abuse to get to her brother, even if it wasn't necessarily there. But, at the same time, maybe Kichi killed somebody else. Maybe Teppei saw this. Maybe Teppei was scared out of an inch of his life and at someone beating him and ran for the hills and left the town.
So I like that. I like that because it doesn't change what you think about Satsuko. Regardless, it's the same. I like that.
Yeah. Just so either way, he's gone from the picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I still like the idea of him being killed by Kichi more. One, because if Kichi just killed somebody random, that is horror, but we don't know who he killed, so it's just like,
and it completely
he just killed Joe from the store.
And it completely defeats the point of the story of Kichi, quote unquote, killing Teppei for Satsuko, right?
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's like a plot relevant character, but I do not know who could be. He really could have just killed, it could be anybody. Because he would have not even killed anybody. He could have just just imagine him punching a tree, and he imagines it to be...
Wow, that Teppei, all bark and no bite.
But I like the idea of Kichi killing Teppei, and that he was not buried underground because Meon and the Sonozaki family just were like, fuck, damn it. We gotta clean up his mess, maybe kill him so he doesn't do this shit again.
I think it's I kind of like what you say. Well, they did say, I thought they had said, I mean, this could go to the theory of Satoko just creating this abuse for herself. But I thought they said that there was food that was still kind of fresh.
Well, yeah, because I mean, so in that case, Satsuko would still be making the food. If the abuse is in her head, she would still think that. Yeah,
Satsuko would still be making the food for the uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if he's not there, she'd still be making the food. So.
She'd still be making the food. So, I'll say, what if Kaichi didn't kill, but the Sonozakis did it anyway?
Kaichi was like, alright, I killed him. Teppei was like, loser, and then the Sonozakis were like, lol.
This is how you do it.
Let an old pro show you how it's done.
I mean, it's
That's not killing. That's not disturbing. This is disturbing.
Oh, this is disturbing. Slams nails into his fingers.
Ha! That is really disturbing.
Oh, that reminds me, actually. He could be in the dungeon. That's in book 2.
Oh, you think that they tortured him?
He could. Possible.
Or even just, like, that's where they stored the body. If the Sonozakis
Yeah.
did kill him, that's just where they, like, remember how, they found that well, and that's where, Rika, Satoko, and the mayor were? And one of Meon and Shion, I forget which one.
Okay.
I'm glad I could help think of your theory for you.
I'll go with the theory that's within arm's reach.
Alrighty then. As for...
Speaking of arms...
speaking of something that's not in arm's reach, Rika's death. Oh boy. Any ideas on who could have killed her? Do you think it was Meon like in book 2? Do you think it was somebody else?
I don't think it's the doctor, because he usually... His death seemed to involve, like, needles and stuff like that. And was that mentioned in book 4?
Book 4 did say that,
oh, yeah, you're right. It could have been... The doctor could have been involved, and that could be why he committed suicide. Because do you remember... this was the last straw.
And do you remember how, Rika was killed? It was like, like the ceremony from the old days.
Yeah, it was like gussed out, completely dismembered. Yeah, that's a ritual. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could have been Meon.
That, Meon plus, the coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's as close as I can get into this. The detail in book 4 about the injection is really the main thing I'm going off here, because, that was... Demons?
No.
Q Neutron.
Her mom. Oh wait, her mom got disappeared.
No, her mom's been gone. Her mom's been gone for a good, like, 3 years now.
Yeah, years ago.
2, maybe I think it's like 2, but whatever.
Unless she didn't really disappear.
Oh my god.
But I believe she was standing in the way of Rika, and
I will spoil something very big for you. It is a character that you already know.
Then it's Meon. Oh, imagine how twisted it would be if it was Ouishi. Like, just imagine he's like, I'll find out who the killer is, who did this to her, when reality was him all along.
Oh god, it's like the twist of, Now You See Me. Ugh. Ugh.
Well,
I don't want it to be true, but the thought came to my mind.
Yeah, I know. We can't rule it out.
You can't rule out anybody.
And you can't rule out anybody. For all we know, it could be Kaichi. And it really could be, but I don't think it is, because I think that would be too easy. But, like, it could have been. He killed before.
My thing is, he killed before.
Yeah, he killed Tepe.
Oh, Kaichi. I thought you said Ouishi.
No, Kaichi.
Ouishi killed the enjoyment of Mahjong.
He killed non-air conditioned cars.
No, hold on. Akasaka clearly killed the enjoyment of that, because he was just way too good at this game. He's just running circles around everybody, and it's just not fun anymore. It's not fun when we're losing.
It could have been Ouishi, because, like, I don't think it was, because...
My thing is that, in book 4, we find out that, Rika knows her fate. And I'm of the, and I'm sure this is gonna be a question, I'm of the opinion that she was told that fate. And they're following that fate to the letter.
So Meon.
So Meon, and or the director.
I definitely think I didn't think the director was involved, but then you mentioned the fact that Ouishi does describe she was drugged, and I'll be honest, any idea of drugs automatically links me to the director.
Yeah,
like exactly. At this point.
If you remember, Kaichi, okay, so I'm not even gonna ask about like the how and the logic. It's literally like one specific thing. Keiichi's ability to curse people, and then it's like, they die. Do you think that adds credence to a curse or god kind of theory? Or do you think it takes away?
Wait. I think it does add to the demon god theory, but I think honestly it's more coincidence. Especially with Rika. Like, Rika is a total I don't even think he wishes for Rika to die.
Yeah, no, he never wishes for Rika to die. She is
That's why I don't think it's him who's doing it. But it would be funny if Rena was the one with the footsteps, and she could somehow read his thoughts, because she can understand what he's saying just by looking at him. She has done that multiple times. In fact, it's very easy to read Kichi's face.
Mm-hmm.
He could be like, "Oh, I want this person to die," and Rena's like, "Challenge accepted," and just goes in and kills them and hides the body. She has a stealth of D20, and every time she just hears it, and she somehow causes the explode. And then when she reaches it, everyone dies. It's just very convenient about the explosion. You could tell I'm joking with this one a bit.
So,
all right, Wash.
My thing is, and this is tangentially related to Hot Fuzz. I think those victims were already going to die. So the thing with Coach is I like Random's theory that that he was just so like distraught with having to do this that he commits suicide. But the death of Ouishi, that's been a long time coming. Even in book 1, you see that like the line of like the entire world just warping into Meon when she's just saying that Ouishi. I think they already had it in for him. And there's a possibility that it's like, oh, I'll know, we'll turn on the swap gas button and cover the whole thing up.
And yeah, on that note, we talked about this before, but again, just to reiterate, Akasaka mentioned that the volcanic gas was too convenient, and that there is maybe potentially a cover-up for something else. Do you buy into that, or are you like, guy, it's a volcano?
The thing is, if it is a cover-up, I have no idea how the fuck they would do it.
Like Ouishi said, it could have just been some aquifers, like an extremely complicated system that they just, I mean, they apparently had years to set this up. It's a possibility. It doesn't seem like anyone like goes near the swamp even, so they could easily just have done something like that. It's just one of those things that's like, even Ouishi, when he was like making fun of the idea, he's making fun of it in a way where even he couldn't rule it out. And this is one of those cases, like, I can't say no.
Alright.
Again, I can't say no either, but at the same time, how the fuck?
I want to, if it turns out to have been their creation, I want to see the blueprints. I gotta
same.
see.
I want to. You gotta show me how. You can't just be like, oh, it was pipes. No,
exactly. You can't just put pipes in places.
This isn't Mario. Where you can just throw a poison mushroom and it just destroys the whole town. No.
All right. Well, good news. There's not a lot left. So I guess these two questions actually go together, just to save on our mental stress, because there's a lot of questions here. I'll just morph these two into one. What was with Rika's total mood flip, and how did she know about everything that was going to happen, to even the extent of knowing that Yuki, Akasaka's wife, was going to, because she cut the cords to make it so Akasaka puts this together himself. Like, how does she even know this much?
I already said this earlier, indoctrination. I think that the elderly, the ones that are most connected with this cult, with this idea, just kind of indoctrinated her into this world, and just corrupted her, in a sense.
As much as I'd like to believe in a curse, because it seems like it's like her voice even sounds different when she like flips. Maybe she is possessed, or maybe she is the ghost of Orochi-sama. But at the same time, I like the idea of like her being so indoctrinated by the elders that like this is her life now, and there's nothing she can do about it.
There's a line that the mother says, because she's part of this too. Like, this is her family. And there's a line in there somewhere where she says, like, I think it says something along the lines of, like, every generation thinks they're the incarnation of a Yashiro. So I think that's the same thing happening here. And it's just enforced, from the outside.
Alright, is that it?
That's all I got.
I mean, yeah, that's all I got.
Now I have one more question. Don't worry about giving up or not. Do you think it's people? Do you think it's the curse? Just everything we put together. Don't worry about like giving up or whatever. Just honestly, what do you think?
It could be either or. I really want it to be people, because I feel like the curse would be cheap.
Either it's people, or like I said, religion, marrying, science. It's a combination of the two. That they may be motivated by the curse.
Oh yeah, they're motivated by the curse for sure, and that's what's convincing them to do a bunch of bad shit.
It's kind of a question of the balance between those.
All right, cool. So overall, question arcs. What are your final thoughts? Because we are done. So what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, we're done.
What are your final thoughts on the question arcs? What did you think of them?
I have a lot of questions. Hopefully they get answered.
Well, yeah, I guess more like I mean, we can watch, like, final thoughts, like, in terms of what you like, didn't like, stuff like that. Like, we're good, you really liked them, you really hated it.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Book 2 was rough, and a little bit wordy, but I still am really enjoying where it's going. But, like I said, I want some questions to be answered. Yeah. I need to know.
I agree. Definitely they're just, it's just like now we've gotten to this far into the mystery, and it's like, I can't just drop it now. Like either we go through this, or I just Google it and try to find all the answers. Oh, of course, it was Huge Neutron.
No.
Oh, hey, Jimbo.
I know you said the voice. This whole time.
Hey, Jimbo. Time to appease the god of Orochi-sama.
Hey, Jimbo. Time to do the outro. Wash, plug.
Oh, if you like this, no, Rush. If you like this, if you like what you're listening to, you can check out our Twitter account, WRK Podcast. We'll post updates on when the next episode comes out. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WRK Podcast. And you can check out our episodes in audio form, wrk.simplecast.com. And for those who are listening in on YouTube, oh god, what comment can we? What can they?
What do you think are the theories? Let us know in the comments below. Don't spoil though. Do not spoil.
Well, I mean, we'll already know by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, true. You're right.
I thought maybe I would be in a better position of like, oh, you'll love the answers, or oh, you'll hate them. But I'm still exactly where I was when we started. I have no idea what you'll think of the answers.
All right.
God, if it really was all a dream.
I'll be that will be the only way that will only piss me off if everything's a dream.
We just canceled up the entire podcast by that point.
All I can really say as of right now is that some answers you've got, some answers you don't.
All right.
You're not 100% right or 100% wrong. You're in the middle.
And on that note,
Yeah.
and we'll continue on with the answer saga with Book 5.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, unless Kirby fan wants to say anything else, do you?
No.
Okay, until then, I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm Wasnipa.
I want cream puffs.
And now I'm going to see Ouishi in a robe. Good night, everybody!